Yeah. I mean, you know, straight women, male sexuality now is completely normalized, and what is considered heterosexual, standard norm heterosexual sex is male sexuality. And straight, I mean, it's some straight women like get that, but it must be really painful to see that so much of what is normalized is just what men want, and only what men want. But for women to, who choose to be with men, they're stuck having to do that. I don't so much understand what's in it for lesbians, though, to adopt male sexuality. I mean, unless it's just wanting to have some sense of, misplaced sense of empowerment, that they're somehow dealing with their trauma, which is, I mean, but it does, obviously doesn't make any sense.
They used to say this. I can remember speaking against sadomasochism. I did very much in the 1980s, and women sort of standing up in the audience and saying, oh, but the sadomasochism is absolutely great because you can do father, dad, you can do daddy and child, sadomasochism, daddy and daughter, and it enables you to deal with your trauma. But of course it doesn't. And as I used to say to them, it's just reproducing that trauma and constantly redoing it. You can't get off the wheel. What we used to have in the 1970s was incest survivor groups, where women would actually try to deal with the trauma and stop it, whereas sadomasochism was a way of dealing with it that reproduced it. But can I just also say, in terms of lesbians trying to imitate this sexuality, it was often, slavish imitation. Back in the 1980s, at the high point of sadomasochism, lesbians used to try to do toilet sex and find that nobody else wanted to do it. Women going into the toilets wanted to have a pee. There weren't little holes in the wall cut out so that lesbians could touch each other's clitorises through the hole or whatever. And there wasn't any of that. But they actually tried to do it, and they wrote about how what a shame that lesbians were so repressed. They were unable to do these wonderful things. And another form of male sexuality that they tried to imitate, of course, was drag. So they tried to do drag kinging and so on. And of course, it was a pale imitation and in no way the same. And drag king has not become dominant in culture in the way that RuPaul's Drag Race has, and so on. So yes, a lot of lesbians used to think gay men are the thing because they had the money, they had the power, they had the publications. They were totally dominant in this thing that was supposed to be the lesbian and gay community. And a lot of lesbians did think, yes, we've got to do some of that.